And they'll try to make you feel guilty for it. They'll try to badmouth you for it. They'll smear you for it. Do you ever feel bad about cutting out that toxic person in your life? Do you ever wonder, like, maybe I should have done something different, or maybe I could have communicated different, or maybe I could have responded different, or when it comes down to it, you're just like, this doesn't seem right. Like, that just seems mean to cut them out of my life, to get rid of this person. Well, in a lot of relationships, like normal, healthy relationships, it would be considered mean. It would be considered rude or just unkind. But we're not dealing with a normal relationship here, are we? We're dealing with someone who hurt you, and not just hurt you, but hurt you to the point of they abused you. Emotionally, mentally, physically, sexually, whatever it might be. Like, they came into your life and they abused the trust and the love that you gave to them. And they really just kind of trashed it and threw it back in your face. But you'll have moments, you'll have thoughts, you'll have ideas that pop in your head that are like, maybe I was wrong, or maybe I shouldn't do this, because it's not very nice. Like, it's not very nice to cut this person out, is it? Like, I should keep him in my life. Well, that's what they want you to think. See, a narcissist wants to stay in your life as long as possible to be able to gain supply, to up their ego, to look better about themselves, to other people out there, their work, their family, their friends. And they'll rely on the fact that you think it might be wrong, it might be mean to actually let them go. See, a lot of times people equate it with love. They're like, how can I let this toxic person go? How can I let this person go? We've been through so much. I love them so much. Like, how can I let go of someone that I say I love? Well, here's the thing. You have to look at it from the other perspective, is because that single question, how can I let go of someone? How can I go no contact with someone that I say I love, is still very centered on the fact that you're focusing on your love for that person. What you're not focused on is their love for you, aka lack of love for you. Because a lot of times you look at it and you say, man, if I loved them, I wouldn't go no contact. Okay, flip it around. If they loved you, then they wouldn't have cheated. They wouldn't have lied. They wouldn't have manipulated. They wouldn't have gaslighted. They wouldn't have future faked. The list goes on and on. The difference is you want to keep them in your life because you love them so much, and you're not willing to let go without the realization and the understanding that they don't love you back. They didn't show it. They didn't show it in respect. They didn't show it in their words. They didn't show it in their actions. They didn't show it in how they responded to you. They didn't show it throughout their entire relationship with you. And they're relying on the fact that you're going to have empathy, that you're going to want them back, that you're going to love them so much that you'll keep them in your life. So when you think about it, that toxic person in your life, you're not doing a disservice. You're not saying, oh, I don't love them anymore. You're saying, hey, I love them so much that I want to keep them in my life, but they don't love me at all. Like, you have to start flipping that script around and understand, like, hey, the fact of the matter is they didn't love you anyways because they didn't show it. They didn't have that expression of love on a day-to-day basis, on a consistent basis, on a truthful basis. They didn't have that demonstration of love to actually prove and show and demonstrate to you that they loved you. So the fact that you want to hold on to a toxic person just because you love them so much is a little skewed, because you're only looking at it from your side. And you have to look at it from the other side of, how did they love? How did they value? How did they respect you? And put that in context. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is to step out of their lives. It's to leave them alone, to go no contact. Because you can't have those people in your life and expect to grow and heal and change. Because that's ultimately why you're here. That's ultimately why you're watching some of these videos about narcissism, about how to deal with trauma bonds, how to deal with people that are stuck in these cycles, and you want to figure out, how can I get better? How can I grow? How can I heal? How can I change? When it comes down to it, you have to fight for you. You have to be the change that happens in the relationship, in the friendship, in the marriage. You have to be the change that happens. It has to start with you. And for that, it means you have to be careful. You have to invest in yourself. You have to get into therapy. You have to work on yourself to grow yourself to be the best person you could possibly be. And often along that process, it means you have to cut out those toxic people. And they'll try to make you feel guilty for it. They'll try to badmouth you for it. They'll smear you for it. They'll guilt you for it. They'll do anything they can to say, hey, like, I want you to stay. I want us to be good. I want us to work on this, all this kind of stuff, when you're trying to grow and you're trying to change. And they'll prey on your emotions and your sympathy to make you feel like, oh, this is a bad thing for me to cut a toxic person out. No, not at all. If you have someone in your life that is defined as toxic, that is not helping you grow, change, and become a better person, then they are not helping that process at all, then you need to cut them out of your life. If you have that narcissist in your life that is lying to you, manipulating you, gaslighting you consistently, like, cut them out and move on and focus on your growth and on your healing. Because ultimately, if you're loving the person that's abusing you, is you're losing all of your self-love. You're losing all of your self-identity. You're losing everything that you were before you met this person, and you're just giving it up. Focus on your growth. Focus on your healing. Focus on your development, because that's ultimately what it comes down to. You're in charge of that. Focus on that. Focus on your growth. If you guys like what you hear here on YouTube, on any of my channels, or on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, obviously, because you're here, TikTok. So go on, follow, subscribe. Would love to hear more comments from you guys. Would love to hear more interaction. We got different events that are going on different times. Sometimes trauma bond events. We've got the NARC app that's going to be coming out here in the next month or so. So people are excited to be able to see Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Community, NARC app, that's coming out, just to be able to educate people about narcissists and also provide a safe community for people to interact, share stories, encourage one another, various things like that. Got a lot of different things in the works. If you want to talk to me one-on-one, I talk with mainly two different types of people. I talk with narcissists. So there's narcissists that sometimes watch my videos, watch other people's videos, and they contact me and they're becoming self-aware, or they're starting to ask questions. And I love those conversations because I love trying to work with people, trying to help them cut the lies, cut everything that they've had in their lives that's just a facade, and say, hey, let's find the truth. Let's get you into therapy. Let's focus on your growth and healing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm still on here, still trying with anybody that comes to me and they say they're narcissists. And then I work mainly and a lot with narcissistic abuse survivors. So people who have been in a narcissistic relationship, they've been abused, manipulated, gaslight, hurt, like all this type of stuff that's gone on. And they're trying to deal with, how do I break free of the lies, the trauma bond that's been put around me? How do I come to terms with what actually happened? How do I wrap my head around it? All these type of things. And so we work together a lot of times one-on-one to go kind of layer by layer to deal with the feelings and the facts and get to the actual story of what's going on and how do we change that to be able to help your healing and your growth. So a lot of that I do with one-on-ones, rawmotivations.com, one-on-ones. If you like what you see here, please subscribe to my channel. Follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. If you're listening on the podcast, either on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, thank you so much. Give me a couple of ratings and give me feedback, because I try to read everybody's comment. That way I can get better and continue to help improve people everywhere as I talk to people about narcissism to raise awareness, promote growth, healing, and change. Anyways, thank you so much for watching.